everyone, and welcome to On the Rise with Miss Phoenix, and I am your host, Miss Phoenix. Here is where we give everyday people a chance to talk about everyday issues, about things that happen in our community, and give their voice a platform. Everyone, this is a place where everyone is free to share their opinions and not be held in a bubble. So we thank our two guests that are on. This is a part two of a previous segment on mental health with suicide prevention. So I'm so happy to have our two guests here. We have Danita Gregory-Puryear and we have Courtney Wilson. These lovely ladies is going to be sharing and answering some questions. I thank everybody for watching the first segment. I thank you for your input, your comments. These two ladies have come back because so many people have reached out to me. They enjoyed the show and they had a few questions for these ladies. So this is why they're back here. And we're here to talk about a lot of issues that plague our community, the African American community, that we do not realize is happening, that we do not um, put a spotlight on. Like for the fact of that 1 in 5 young people from the age of 13 to 18 have developed mental health issues. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about how it's not only affected older people, but it's younger people. We don't talk about how in the LGBTQ community is 3 times more acceptable to mental health issues. We don't talk about the common signs that we have with mental health issues and how it's caused. We don't talk about how people respond to people's statements about them being depressed, that they're suicidal. We often come back and say things like, there's somebody that's worse off than you, shake it off. We come back and say, oh, you'll get through it, don't worry about it. But here is the time where we come and we just put a spotlight on these issues and we talk about and get more insight on how to deal with it, how to help, the different avenues. And then these ladies are here to share their own personal testimonies and stories of how they made it, and encourage someone else to let them know, listen, I made it. It may not have been an easy walk, but you can make it too because you're looking at somebody who's victorious over it. So thank you, ladies, for joining in. For those who do not know them, I'm going to give them a minute to introduce themselves and tell a little bit about themselves. Danita, can you go first?
Sure. Good evening, everybody. My name is Danita Gregory-Puryear. I am an educator, early childhood educator. I'm also a wife, a mother of 3 beautiful children, young adult children, and I work with women and young girls. And currently, I am again Miss Exquisite Full Figured, New Jersey, 2019.
Hello, everyone. My name is Courtney Wilson. I am from Jersey City, New Jersey. I currently work at William Patterson University as an academic advisor, and I also work as a per diem clinician for an agency focusing on children and families. I am a licensed associate counselor. I received that accolade in 2020, July 2020, and now I'm working towards my LPC, which is my licensed professional counselor certification. Um, and pretty much an advocate. I'm a mentor. I try to help everyone that I know and within the community. And for myself, I am the second runner up for Miss Bullfig New Jersey 2021.
All right. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. As you see, these beautiful ladies have many hats. They are experienced in different areas. They deal with women, children on different levels from the beginning of stages to teenage adulthood. So I'm so happy that you ladies are here today. Courtney, if I can ask you a few questions. Can you tell me what are some signs of mental health issues? What is some signs? Many times we don't recognize someone suffering from mental health. We don't recognize that they're dealing with some sort of depression. So what are some signs?
So when I saw this question, I thought to myself, like, how can I answer this? So, in some ways, some visible signs are someone is normally upbeat and happy, and then they start feeling down or sad or maybe confused or maybe has some fears or worries. Oftentimes, if they're very active and then they then when withdrawn, those are some symptoms. If they're detached, if they also have some eating habits, if they eat normal, then from whatever reason that may be, they eating habits may change. So
Okay.
those are some signs. But then on the other hand, there's some people that are just functioning as is. You would never
Mhm.
know that they have a mental health issue or concern. So really it's kind of hard to really gauge, but those are the main symptoms that you may see in an individual. But on the other hand, there may be people that just walk around like nothing happened. They're okay and they're happy and everything. But deep down inside, they know how to, kind of check it. Like, okay,
Right.
I may be, I mean, I know I'm not okay, but let me make sure I'll appear okay so no one asks me those further questions to dig on the deeper issue of myself or, things of those concerns. So it's, there are symptoms, but there's also people that may not exhibit those as well.
And would you say, because like we said before, it's not really discussed in the community, so many people mask their feelings of what they're going through, like stages of depression or different things. So it's just being more attentive to people that may be around you, that may be close to you, just to notice, listen, something's not right, something is going on, because a lot of people don't understand when it comes to mental health, different things can trigger a mental health, relationships, family issues, family secrets, hurt, work, um, different avenues of different hats that they wear. You ladies wear many hats. Some mothers deal with depression, some fathers, some children. Like, so it's a lot of different things. And like you said, there's no real clear signs that point to it. You just have to kind of pay attention to the person because they are withdrawn. Thank you. Danita, what has been your personal experience with mental health?
Well, first of all, mental health has been diagnosed on both sides of my family.
Okay.
So it can be considered generational.
Okay.
And with my experience, it developed in my childhood.
Okay.
What I didn't know at the time was that I was going through bouts of depression as a
Okay.
young child, trying to live up to other people's standards and always being a people pleaser.
Right.
So, in the midst, I lost who I was, even though I was a young child developing. I still lost myself, and it went into adulthood years.
Oh wow. And that's very interesting because, like I said, when I was looking at some facts to dealing with mental health issues, it said one out of all mental illness show early signs before a person even turns 14 years old. And I felt I was, and then it says like 3/4 of mental illness begins before the age of 24. So I was saying, like, wow, even in our younger kids that we may not pay attention or realize that they are developing mental health issues, and some of the signs are going, um let's see, undiscovered or unnoticed. And maybe that's why I was just thinking about society and what we have a lot of younger kids who are committing suicide because they cannot deal with the mental, the depression. They're withdrawn and no one's paying attention to it. So like you said, and sometimes it's on both sides, and because we're not talking about it, as you said, Danita, and it's on both sides of the family, and it was never addressed. So many times people don't pay attention to listen. Could be a hereditary thing. This can be a thing, and we need to break cycles with not talking about things. So thank you. Courtney, you said you were just talking about how the signs are not visible. So you touched a little bit about people being withdrawn, but can you tell me some other ways how it affects people, this mental health?
Absolutely. If it's to the point where it affects their daily functioning, then that's what is deemed as a mental health issue or concern.
Okay.
So let's say if you need alcohol, for example, to function
Okay.
throughout the day, then that's considered a mental health illness. If you
Okay.
have to touch something or have something in order in a certain way or structure, that's a mental health
Okay.
concern. If it happens over a certain amount of days for a certain amount of time or a certain amount of months or so, so that's what's deemed as an effect of individuals. And, we find that out when we talk to potential clients and people and just discovering different things. And that's how you determine if how it affects individuals.
Do they realize? Because I know, like I said before in the beginning, many times when talking to people, you don't necessarily recognize right away. And sometimes people can be trying to reach out to you, and we're quick to say, "Oh, you're stressing about that, or you're depressed about that. It's somebody worse off than you. Go ahead, shake that off, or you'll be all right. You're putting too much." And we downplay the feelings and emotions of people. So as a therapist, like when you're talking to them, is it some time where they come out and they start realizing, yeah, this was the moment that I really discovered that I did have an issue. Like this was the moment because there may be something that you say to help trigger to make them realize, yeah, this is how it really affected me.
Yes. And in therapy, we allow for the client to talk. That's the first thing we do is let them talk because for the most part, they probably want someone to listen to them and they
Right.
haven't been heard. So that's the safe space that we try to provide to our clients when it comes to therapy sessions. Hey, we're here to listen to what's going on and try to figure out some treatments on the said problem, cause, or issue that have presented you to be here. So, listening and talking and making them feel like you're not being judged, because that's probably another thing that may happen within families, friends, cohorts, things of that such, that people
Hmm.
are placing judgment. Like you said, they're like, oh well, that's not that bad. That's called minimizing their feelings.
Oh, right.
And the last thing someone wants to do is to have their feelings minimized by
Hmm.
someone especially close to them. It's like, well,
Right.
I don't feel heard, so I don't feel safe talking to you. So what makes you think I want to divulge more into you if you're not going to listen to me? So, and they probably struggle with trying to find that right person because they don't know who to go to, which leads to now, therapy. But then if you tie it back to the African American community, oh, why are you going to therapy? You should be talking to me. And it's like a cyclical, like sick
Right.
behavior of who to go to or who to confine to with this information to find a better way of coping with such.
That's very good because, like you said, you reach out to speak to somebody because you want to be heard, but then your voice is silent because the person says to you, that's not really how you feel, that's not really what you're going through. And then in our community we feel like, why are you going to a therapist, why you need to seek this type of help when you got family around and you have people around. And so with that being said, Danita, one of the questions I have for you is, with it being so frowned upon about seeking therapy, um, in a community where we're hush, closed mouth. You don't talk about what happens in the house. You don't talk about some families. You don't talk about how you're feeling. You keep that to yourself. As children, you keep how you're feeling to yourself, because if you start expressing it to adult, you're being disrespectful. You're not, and you work with the younger generation of children. So I mean, I'm pretty sure that you see it and like different things that even like the younger kids, when they begin to talk, they talk and they tell the truth and they share the truth. And as adults, we try to silence their voice, calm down, and then they're taught, oh, you don't talk about this, you don't talk about that. So what was the most difficult part for you when you had coming out and um dealing with the mental health issues that you dealt with?
The hardest part was confronting some of the very same people whom I felt like I could not talk to
Okay.
at the time. As I stated, I dealt with depression, anxiety, um, pretty much a whole host of mental health issues from childhood into adulthood. And I remember just finally breaking down and talking to my parents as a young adult and saying how I felt and how different things were making me feel and what I was going through at the time. And to my surprise, they really kind of listened.
Okay.
One parent, maybe over the other, didn't understand as much as the other, but
Mm-hmm.
at least they were open to hearing what I had to say and how I felt. Um, I am a big proponent of therapy, and once I found out who I could talk to, where I could go, and what resources I could use, I started seeing a therapist. And even now, I have a therapist that I talk to. And it's one of the best things that I think I could have done for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And even in dealing with past situations, but knowing that this could be something that is ongoing and can occur more than I would like to see within myself. And learning the coping mechanisms and just putting a trust and a faith in someone else that doesn't know me per
Mm-hmm.
se and can help me through some things without exactly knowing what it was. So the hardest part was, yes, I'm talking to my parents,
Mm-hmm.
but in the end, I don't regret talking to them because it gave me a strength to help myself even further.
Right. It's very good. Very good. So many times, like you said, the hardest part is confronting those that have contributed to some issues, some things that have caused you to retreat, to experience depression, low self esteem, whatever that mental illness could be. Sometimes death is the loss of a loved one can push you over the edge and not having someone to talk to, not feeling a part of something, feeling left out, uh, a lot of those issues. So we're going to pause for a minute and take a break. And when we come back, we're going to hear from Danita about just what was some signs in her life that made her realize that she needed help. And then Courtney is going to come back and she's going to talk to us about some tools to help us with dealing with mental illness. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, we are back with On the Rise of Miss Phoenix. I have my special guests, Danita and Courtney. They have gave us some awesome tips, shared some awesome stories with us, and we're just gonna continue on in this segment in this talk. So, Danita, can you please tell us what were some signs that made you realize that you needed help, that this thing has gotten kind of a hold of you, and you needed your life back?
Well, some of the signs that I saw within myself, I like to think of myself as an upbeat person,
Okay.
but then I just started to wanting to be isolated to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I stopped wanting to go out and do things with people. I just wanted to stay in the house. I wanted to go out with my children, of course, my husband, but I didn't want to interact with society at hand.
Mm-hmm.
I felt more comfortable in my home, in my comfort zone. and that wasn't me. Also, I was very fatigued at times
Mhm.
and just real sluggish, and I didn't really want to sleep, but I could sit on the couch for hours.
Mhm.
And then appetite, you know, my husband, he cooks. So he cooks very well. At times I just didn't want to eat.
Mhm.
So and then I had suicidal thoughts, and that's what really drove me. Um I just shared my story this past Sunday that the last time I tried to attempt was in 2016, and it was the eve of my daughter's sweet 16, and I just felt like driving straight down 280 and like not coming back, because I just felt, even though it was a joyous time, like I had nothing to give.
Mhm.
And but I believe in God. He's my higher power, and in that moment he stopped me and he said, "You have work to do.
Mhm.
You have to be here, not only for your husband and your children, but for yourself, because you have so much more to give." So in that moment, I knew that I needed to seek the help.
Mhm.
And because if I didn't, I wouldn't be here talking to you right now.
Mhm.
So in that instant, I knew that I had to do something, not just for myself, but for my children, my husband, my family, and others that were dealing with things like myself.
Thank you. For being transparent. It is in being transparent that we reach somebody and they understand it is real. That we're not just here talking, but we are survivors. You are a survivor. And by being a survivor means that you're still surviving daily. It's not an easy walk because daily is a battle, a fight. Courtney, what are some tools for helping somebody that's kind of on this fight of survival to trying to stay on the right course, that they don't derail with dealing with a mental illness?
Very good question. I think one of the first things is to just be there as support. So again, listening without judgment. I hear you. Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing. Just listening. No need to put anything personal on your end onto them. Nothing. Just straight listen. Okay. 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 And offer help. What is it I can do to help you in this situation? Is there anything I can do for you? Simple as that. Because again, when they're going through something, they probably feel like no one's listening or hearing them. That's why they're internalizing everything and turning to other alternatives, which are probably eating more or sleeping more or not getting up more, because there's no need to do anything because no one cares in a sense.
Right.
So listening without judgment, hearing them out, granting permission or asking for permission. Is it okay if I can hug you? Is it okay if I can touch you? Is it okay
Mm-hmm.
if I can do this for you? Because you want to make sure they have a safe space. So asking for
Right.
permission, listening without judgment, also clarifying statements. Did I hear you correctly with saying this? Did I understand you correctly with saying that? Because you want to make sure that that person again is being heard. So those are some things you can do. If it's to a point where it's a crisis, then you do have mobile crisis to contact. If it's something to that point where you can't, do anything in that case, there is mobile crisis available.
Mm-hmm.
You can call 911 as well. There is one thing I did when I was in grad school called mental health first aid. I'm not sure everyone's aware of that, but it's a brief course. It took a day to complete, and it tells you tips and tools to enact if something happens in the case of emergency of a mental health crisis. So you can call 911 if someone's having like a panic attack or something to that effect. So it's very helpful. You can find the website online. It's called Mental Health First Aid, and they have trainings all around the U.S., whether virtual or in person. Some are very small fee or even free to
Mm-hmm.
do, and you get a certification for 3 years for it. So I definitely encourage to do that as well.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Those are some great tips. You said ask for permission. So we you don't ever want to crowd somebody's space. when they're having a moment or going. You never know what the reaction may be. Asking for permission, like you said, can I hug you? Can I touch you? And that made me think of, it was a reel that, on social media, how they have reels, and it was a guy standing outside a store, and he had a sign. He was blindfolded, and he had a sign, and he says, if you need, if you're dealing with a mental health issue, dealing with depression, hug me. I'm here for you. And it was people that walked by and came up to him and said, can I hug you? And they hugged him, and he said, what is your issue? What are you dealing with? And one lady was like, I just lost my father not too long ago. Another one was like, I just got out of a real bad relationship. And when I seen that, I was just like, wow, people are walking by carrying issues and dealing with something. And it was something simple as, I'm here, a sign. Complete stranger, I'm here to help you. That caused somebody to say, listen, I'm the one who need help. I read the sign, and it was like the blindfold just showed me it didn't matter who you were, what you look like, I'm here. And when you said listen without judgment, because so many times we are already ready to judge. We'll say, oh, you're in that place because that's the decision you made. You going through that because that was your choice. If you would have, so much judgment. And I try to say, when people are at their lowest, they don't want to hear I told you so. They don't want to hear you should have done better or you should know better. No, listen, just be an ear, because you never know. And I think about, when people have committed suicide, did they reach out at that last moment just for one person to listen? Could that one person who didn't have time been the one to save them? Could that one person be the one that been a voice of reason? And like you said, Danita, you mentioned God, and you know how I feel. Could God had, because that person closed himself, use you as a voice to get through? So that, thank you. That listen without judgment was very good. So many times we walk by people daily. We work with people daily. We live in a house with people daily and never know their story. I'm pretty sure one of us on here, or all of us, could attest or heard of somebody or been close to somebody who have took their life, who have dealt with or been on the verge of taking their life, not feeling like there was nothing in life to live for. There's nothing in life, especially as women. Danita, you said, and I know this is one of your questions, but we just gonna just jump in it for everybody. But as different hats as women we wear, so much pressure comes upon us, and there's so much stress, and we hear women are strong, women are powerful, we are the backbone, but we carry so much, and with carrying so much, put so much on us that that depression becomes real, and your kids don't see it, your spouse don't see it, if your mothers don't see it, your best friends don't see it, because we're so busy trying to carry those hats. If y'all want to jump in, you can jump in at any time, but carry those hats where it's like you said, Danita, it was a good moment. Your daughter was turning 16, and here you are, like, I could just drive over to cross this bridge into the water, and nobody even knew.
Yeah, and I have a another side to it too. Like I call my children old souls
Mm-hmm.
because I've dealt with depression, anxiety all my life, and I tried to hide it from them.
Mm-hmm.
But this one particular year, My oldest was 16, my middle daughter was 11, and my son was 8. And I was having a bad day, and my anxiety was kicking in, my depressive mood was kicking in. But each one of them at different times of the day or the evening, they came to me and was like, well, first of all, my son, he was 8, kissed me on my forehead and was like, whatever you're going through, mommy, don't worry about it. You're the best mom in the world. Then my daughter was 11, and she was like, mommy, we've been indoors for a night, but joy is going to come in the morning. And then at 16, my oldest daughter says to me, mommy, what do you need me to do? And in that moment, it just amazed me, because for as much as I tried to hide behind it and put those masks on for my children, they saw through it, and they were able to like break me down to get me to a point where I'm like, wow, you really understand. And I always say, what do children know? But children know a lot. And when they're in tune with you, it's right on time. Because even though I've dealt with it, I continue to go through it. I know how to kind of manage it, but also I let it go because they're there to pick me back up. And I always carry that with me. So even at that time in 2016, I could still remember what they said to me, and I could vividly see, but it was just something else that was taking over, and thank God, I didn't go through with it. But to know that when I'm in something, to see their faces or hear their voices, it kind of, backtracks, and I know that I can bring myself down. So, but that was an amazing experience, especially in the lives of my 3 young children at that time, because they're all adults now. But yeah, it was real fascinating for me.
That's good. That's good. Courtney, did you want to jump in and say something?
As you all were talking, I was trying to think of my experiences, especially being a black woman, and how that facet of being strong and independent, not showing emotion, is what we carry on our daily lives, and it kind of gets to me because it's like, why can I not be vulnerable? Why can I not show emotion? Why can't I not be myself in this sad situation? And it got to me because I'm thinking of like when, and I expressed this a little bit in the previous one, that when I was in New York, I was suffering from depression significantly because that was my first time away from home for
Mm-hmm.
4 years. And the lifestyle I lived was that I didn't see people like myself often. I was kind of like the token, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of got to me. And I'm like, a token? Like, I'm from Jersey City. Like, we all diverse there. It's not really like
Mm-hmm.
one of. So being that, and for many people, I was kind of like their first person of color that they seen, and I didn't know how to take it. I was like,
Right.
what do you mean? And
Right.
carrying that, they see me as this strong, independent person. And what got me too was like one of my students, as a thank you gift, they gave me this plaque that said "Strong and Independent Woman," and I had to sit there and think to myself, like, is this what I'm portraying to everyone, that I'm strong and independent? Is this a good thing? Is this a vulnerable thing? Like, it got to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I still have it to this day in my office, but sometimes I look at it like, is this really who Courtney is? Or can I challenge myself to be more than what is said? And there are times where I feel like I can be a little bit more vulnerable or more sensitive or things of that such because I'm allowed to. Why can't I?
Right.
And sometimes we have to demystify the stereotype of black women being this strong, independent, because they think that we're so stoic and everything that we can't bear emotion, and then we bear
Right.
emotion. Oh my gosh! And I
Right.
had that moment where I was trying to be vulnerable at this previous place that I was, and it was like I had to break down for them to understand me that I was really going through something, and
Right.
I hated that. I
Right.
hated that I had to go to the minimum of bearing that emotion just to tell you that I'm really going through something. So I'm like, you can deal with it. You can do. No, like I had things going on too. And in that moment, that's when I told myself, like, oh, I need to change because this
Right.
is not what I, expected. I wanted more support, but did I really have to break down that moment to show you that I need support? And that just probably ties back to the whole thing about Black women being very much strong and independent. So, just for that whole topic itself, I'm just, telling my friends and my close ones to be yourself. Allow yourself to be comfortable around me. Allow yourself to be vulnerable around me. If you want to cry, cry. It's okay. And and I think sometimes with people, when we go into a situation and someone's crying, it's like, oh my gosh, what do we do? But allow them to be themselves in that process. Just allow
It's
them to be themselves.
it's funny you say that because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a crybaby.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start crying, I'll probably start crying with you, and we'll be sitting there. But it's a release. It may be a release for both of us, like
Mm-hmm.
you were saying. And for a while, people have always said to me, um, she's strong. She can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like no matter where I was at, I was the one that people leaned on. I was the one that people, um, oh, I could tell her she can carry this. So I'm like, I'm carrying you. This, your stuff, my stuff. Who's gonna hold me up? Who can I go to when I'm weak? It was times where I was told to somebody, or somebody said to me, "Well, I'm in my weak moment. You can't be weak right now. You can't feel how you're feeling right now because I need you to be strong for me." And it caused me to go through, I went through a period of really bad anxiety where they sent me to a heart specialist because they were trying to figure out what was going on with my heart. Like, and I couldn't get a grip until one day I realized it was just so much suppressed feelings, so much suppressed emotions, so much of being strong that I even fight to this day when people are like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine," because like you said, there was no one to listen. I was always told, "Oh, somebody else is worse off than you. Don't complain. Oh, you got this. You'll get through this. Stop moping. Stop complaining." And at times, no, I didn't. It was times where I didn't want to get up in the morning. It was times that I took uh, bottles of pills and woke up in the morning and was like, why am I still here? Like, why? And like you said, Danita, it was a voice that said, God was like, there's more work for you to do. You cannot, no matter how many times you tried it in your life, you cannot. It's so much more. And then there was times I looked at my kids and was like, how selfish am I to take my life and leave them here when they didn't ask to be here, but I gave birth to them. But I've allowed so much stuff. And like you said, that's when, let me talk to somebody. Let me seek help. Let me find that one person that will listen. And so if you're watching this, find that one person that will listen. Seek help. There's nothing wrong with going to see a therapist. There's nothing wrong with getting help. There's nothing wrong with coming out of that shell and talking about what broke you. Talk about what is destroying you, what's suffocating you. Don't sit and suffer in silence because you feel like you got to be strong. No, it's okay to be weak. It's okay not to have all the answers. It's okay as women, as men, as children. Talk about it. Talk about it. Do not be closed off so much so that you lose hope. Guys, we're going to pause for one more minute, one more break. We're going to come right back and we got some more to share with you guys. But I thank you for tuning in. I thank you for just my guest for being transparent, allowing me to be transparent because a lot of people are going to see this and be like, I never knew this about her. But thank you guys. We'll be right back for On the Rise with Miss Phoenix. Welcome back to On the Rise with Miss Phoenix. We thank our wonderful guests, Danita and Courtney, for all the insight that they have given to us. We thank them for being just so transparent on this platform and encouraging and inspiring all our viewers and our watchers. We hope that something was said in this moment to help encourage you, to help you continue to fight, and let you know that being a survivor means that you're surviving to make it through. We just want to do a little something different on the Rise with Miss Phoenix. I wear many hats, so one of them is a prayer intercessor. So I just want to pray with those that may be watching, that those that may be struggling, those that may be fighting to survive, to let you know whatever denomination you are, whatever you believe in, whoever you believe in, we're going to just unite on one accord and saying whatever that power is. I'm not pushing whatever on you, but whatever that power is that you believe in will give you strength to make it through. God, we thank you, we bless you, and we honor you for just that the power that is in your name, because we recognize that you are so awesome and you're so amazing. And God, nothing catches you by surprise. Not our issues, not our circumstances, not our emotions, not anything that we go through, God, because you already know, and because you're all knowing, and because you're omnipresent. God, we understand that there is no place that we can go that's far from your grace. There's no place that we can hide that's far from your mercy. We thank you for just loving on us and calling us your own. God, somebody on this line or this watching may be struggling with whatever issues that they may be dealing with. And God, they may feel like hope is all lost and they may be on their last leg. But God, I ask that you give them strength right now. Give them strength to persevere. Give them strength to seek help. Give them strength to run for peace, to run for joy, to run for strength, God. Give them something that will help them just continue to survive. God, I thank you for my guests on tonight. I thank you that you have made them survivors. I thank you that you have gave their voices power. I thank you that you have brought them through. God, I thank you that while the enemy was trying to whisper in their ear for them to end it, God, that your voice was so much stronger and so much powerful that it has given them a new life, a new birth, and a new mission because you have put purpose in them. God, I thank you for those that are going to watch this and are watching the replay. God, that you have given them purpose. You have given them so much purpose, oh God, that no matter what they're facing, they shall come through it. God, I thank you that you take the good and you take the bad and you take the ugly and you mix it all together, that it works for our good and it brings us out to be stronger. So God, thank you in our weak moments, that even though we're weak in the moment, God, we are strong in our faith and strength and our belief in you. God, I ask that right now, whatever it is that may be going on, whatever it is that people may be calling you for, God, whatever it is that they need in this moment, in this hour, that you granted to them right now, God, in the name of Jesus. God, I thank you for the trials. I thank you for the tribulations. I thank you for the ups and the downs, because it helps us to see who you really are, and it helps us to become better people that you have called us to be. So God, I thank you right now for everything that you're doing. I thank you for this platform that you have given to your people, that you have given to me, that I can minister to your people, that I can inspire your people, that I can educate your people. I thank you for the guests that's going to come on the show. I thank you for the guests that have been on this show. I thank you for their lives. God, I ask that you increase their territories right now in the name of Jesus, that wherever they go, their story will follow them, God, that they can lead other people to you, that they can lead people into living a better life, to being a better person, to being a better individual. I bind right now the thought of suicide right now. I bind depression right now. I bind any stronghold right now, God, in the name of Jesus. It shall not overtake your people. It shall not destroy your people. God, we bind the voice that says we have to be quiet in this season. We will cry out, God, unto you, because we know that if we cast our burdens upon you, God, that you said you are able to handle them. So God, as we release those things, oh God, that has been carrying us as weight, as we release those issues that we are still struggling with, or as we release those things that are still bothering us, God, we ask right now that you take them, oh God, and you take them, so you give us more peace, oh God, that you make make us lighter on this journey, that we won't carry these things no more, God, that we will be healed fully and totally, oh God, in this journey. God, we thank you, God, and we declare that your will is so much better for us than anything else. We understand that your plan is more greater for us. God, we understand that your voice is what leads and guides us. So we will not be bound by the opinions of others. We will not be bound by the past that we had. We will not be bound by the opinions, oh God, the levels, the bubbles that people put us into, but we will be okay with whatever moment we have. You have us in. God, we understand that the moment is only temporary because we are so much greater and stronger because we have you. Thank you for walking with us and talking with us. Thank you for holding us. Thank you for your covering and your refuge, God. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. 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 I thank each
Amen.
and every one of you for tuning in. I thank each and every one of you for just being my guest. I thank you that's going to watch the replay. I pray and hope that something was said on tonight's show of On the Rise with Miss Phoenix to help inspire you to keep fighting. Don't give in. Don't give in to the thoughts. Seek help. Go talk to someone. If you are that person that somebody has been trying to talk to, listen without judgment. It may seem mediocre to you, it may seem low to you, but it's big for that person. Let their feelings be valid and let them be able to express those feelings to you. Ask for permission. Don't just bogart your way into their space in their life. Ask them for permission and guarantee the difference that you will make in somebody's life. Thank you for joining in. Please like, share, comment below. Let us know how this has been a help to you. Let us know if any way we can be of a help to you. Tell somebody else we're here every Wednesday. We are here on the line. So subscribe so you don't miss another episode. Later on, my guests will come back and impart little words, little wisdom that they have for you. But again, I thank you for joining in. I am your host, Miss Phoenix. See you again next week.
Hey, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed this segment that um, we shared with you on this evening. I just want to impart a few words and say that if you need help, seek help. If you need help, seek help. There are professionals out here that will take the time out to help you, to listen to you, and be prepared to help meet any need that you have. And in preparation to meeting with that professional, take the time out to tend to yourself. Marry yourself first. Get to know the best you first. Take all the time that you need to be the best for yourself. Because if you can't be the best for yourself, you're not going to be able to be the best for anyone else that is around you. So if no one has told you today or yesterday, I love you, and there's nothing that you can do about it. So please take care of you first. Thank you.
Everyone. My name is Courtney, and I just want to talk a little bit about suicide rates and stuff. And many people may not know that it affects us greatly, and understand that there's some statistics that affect nationally and even within the Black community. So, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office of Minority Health, particularly with black men and women, the death rates are, and this is by the way by 2018, so it's not really of like 2021, but it's still some data that can be discussed. For black men, it was about 12.2%, and for women, it was about 2.9%. These are death rates. So with given that, you could tell by men that it's a higher number compared to women because men are more, and I hate the way to say the word successful, but that's the word that is normally used with executing the suicide. So they use more drastic measures such as a gunshot to the head or jumping off of some area of some sort or getting hit by a train. Some type of drastic measure men typically use, which is why they have higher rates of suicide. In the pandemic, I believe that it even increased some more in the rates because, whatever happened in the pandemic, such as isolation and loss of such, and a lot of things that happen within can raise those rates. And women, they have a lower rate because they are more prone to ideation and not completing the act. So they may do things such as cutting or other methods like taking pills or something like that. Which, on the other hand, for men is more, the drastic completion of such. So with knowing that, I just wanted to educate you about those numbers and let you know how we are affected and be please, and if you see any signs, just talk to them or provide them with resources. um, and you never know what impact you may have in that person's life. And as a community, it's best to just try to be a helping hand. Let's not judge each other, let's not harm each other, let's work together for the greater good. Thank you.